Alright, here we go. We're going to start with our green scrubby yarn, and we're going to give it an aqua acrylic for the second strand. Now this is how I've made all of the cactuses so far. I used 2 strands of yarn, and it's pretty simple. I don't think I can use the bowl with 2 strands though. I'm just going to have to pull them out. We're going to make a magic circle. Go under both, pull them both through, and then grab your yarn and pull it through both. There we go. Now we want 6 single crochets in this magic loop. So we've got 1. Be sure to grab both sets of yarn. 2, both strands. 3 and 4. I'm going to make sure these are going to be able to be pulled. And we've got 5 and 6. And I'm going to pull that out a little. And then we're going to take our 2 strands of yarn here, and we're going to pull them tight because you want it completely closed up on the top. This is the top of your cactus, and we're going to go in right here and slip stitch this together. Okay, now you can do a chain 2 here, which is what I normally do, or you can do a chain 1. Let's do a chain 1 on this one. It can be either or you can skip the chain if you want to go around continuously. So you have some options right there. And you go in here, we're going to do 2 stitches per stitch, 2 single crochets per stitch. All you're going to use on this entire project is a single crochet. You got 2 in that one. You go in the next one and we'll do 2. Now this is the scrubby, an actual scrubby yarn, because it gives it the little stick out pieces as a cactus. So that's what makes it look like a cactus here. And the last one I used with this was a thin cotton. So this is a little different of a yarn, but you don't want all your cactuses to look the same. You want them to look different. And this is what we're going to come up with right here. It's a very cloudy day today, so the lighting is not as good as I had hoped. And we're going to go 2 here. And I'm using a size G hook because this acrylic yarn that I'm using is a little bit thicker. Make sure you keep both strands on your hook as you go, because it's easy to lose one of them. And then we're going to do 2 more here. And I like to slip this together and then do a chain 1. Now we're going to make this guy a little bit small, so that's all we're going to do until we go straight down. So what you're going to do now is do 1 stitch per stitch all the way around. You're just going to go 1 stitch, 1 single crochet. I'm going to get a little bit zoomed in here. Maybe you can see that a little bit better. We're just going to do a single crochet all the way around. And if you have a larger bowl, that would be great for 2 balls of yarn. Now this is, what am I trying to say? Going to be the size of it, the round that you use. You can make it larger if you like, or you can keep it small. You can even go smaller and tiny with a tiny hook and just the scrubby yarn by itself. Now the benefit of making these cactuses with the scrubby yarn is you do not have to sew this end in. You can leave it hanging on the inside of your cactus. So there's the top, and we're just going to do a chain one here and keep going. 1 stitch per round. All the way around. And do 1 single crochet per stitch. And this is the same pattern you're going to use for the whole thing. All the way around until you have it the height that you want it. And I think I lost my connector spot. I think it was right here actually. Right here. See, there's the stitch. I don't know if you can see that where it connects here. I just kept going. We're going to delete that out. Okay. And we're going to slip this together and pull it tight and do a chain 1. And you keep doing that until you have the height that you want. Okay, here we are with a longer little cactus. He's a pretty good height. And we are just going to slip stitch this in, slip it right in there, and cut this off to a fairly good length. Then we are going to pull this through, and that's it. Now when you stuff this, you will just stuff these strings right down in there. That scrubby yarn is very difficult to work with when you sew it in, but you have a cute little cactus. Now let's make the dish he's going to sit in. Okay, here we are ready to make the dish. This is the closest I can get to terracotta, and I don't know the color, the name of the color. But we're going to start off exactly like we did the cactus, except we have a smaller needle. Now this needle is a 3.5. So we're going to do our 6 single crochets into the circle. And you want the smaller needle so you have tiny stitches, so it's very tight and it looks more like a container instead of having holes in it. And one more. And after you get your 6, you're going to pull your string. And then you're going to go right in here in this first stitch and slip it together. And when you pull that string really tight, it makes your hole disappear. And now you're going to chain 1 and do 2 stitches here in each stitch. For your increase all the way around. And all you're doing still is single crochets. Now in the second round, you should have 12 stitches to start with. Let's go in a little bit further. You should have 12 stitches to start with. You're going to chain 1. And then you are going to go 1 here. And then you're going to do 2. Because you want to increase on this row. You're going to go 1 here. You don't want to increase 2 in each stitch. You want to do 1 and then 2. 1, 2, 1, 2 all the way around. So if you've got 2 in this one, you want 1 in that one, so the next one is 2. And the next one is 1 and the next one is 2. And this is your third round. 2. And then we're going to slip this together right there. And then you are going to chain 1 and you're going to repeat that row. You're going to do 1 and 2. And you're going to do 1 and 2. So it'll increase slowly as you get further out. You're still doing all single crochets, so you're not learning a new stitch, but you're doing all single crochets. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. Now you can do this in the round and use a stitch marker and count your stitches each time and make sure you do that. Or you can do it this way and you can see right here where your chain was because it brings it up and out. And then you have your full circle. Now let's see, that right there is where you want it on the edge to fit your cactus. Okay, so this is just the right size to be for the cactus. You want it to stick out just a tiny bit. Let's see. There it is, it's sticking out just a tiny bit on the edge. So now we are going to do our chain 1, and you are going to go in the back loop only and do 1 single all the way around because you don't want your pot to be too big for your cactus. You're going to go 1 stitch on every one because it'll start decreasing and going up like the side of the pot. But if you do back loop only, it will help it to turn and make the side come up like that right there. So you do back loop only on this first row. The first row of going up to the side, you want that extra little help of it going up. So we do back loop only. And you'll see that when you do back loop only, it leaves this little ridge right here. And then when you get around to the end of your row, you'll see where to stop. Now this one can be done without stuffing, but it probably will work out better with stuffing. Keep going around, 1 single crochet per stitch, all the way to this very end, and you can see this ridge right here, and we're going to slip it into this full stitch right here. Slip it together, and when you pull it tight, you're going to have a little bowl. And there's your edging so far, and when you stick your cactus in, it's a little tight of a fit. Could have made this one stitch bigger, but when you get it in there, let me back up a little bit. Let me get this pulled out. Okay. And I'll tie my string in here in a minute. But when you get this, you have to squeeze it a little bit to get it in. But then once you get it in, you have the edge coming up the side. Now you can make this taller if you wanted to, or you can just leave it right here, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to go get some stuffing. So here we go with polyfil. Now I didn't tie any of this in because that scrunchy stuff, that scrubby stuff, is very difficult to tie in. But you just stuff this in there, and you will have a solid little cactus when you're done. He's a little squishy. Just right. Now if you want, I'm going to go ahead and tie this one in. Because this one is the one in the bottom of the pot, and it's kind of in the way a little bit. So we're just going to lock it in here a few times. We'll give it a third go there. And we'll cut that off. Now, set that back up right. We could cut this off quite a ways out, so it's pretty long. Because right now I'm going to stitch with this one. Now we're going to take our stuffed cactus and put him in this little pot. Now it is a tight fit when you first get it on there, but that's okay, because you don't want it to be, you don't want the pot to be too big or it won't fit right. So we're going to take this thread that we cut. Now you can use a new thread if you like, but this one's already attached, so I'm just going to go ahead and sew this on. You want to get right under those stitches. And you're going to do a back stitch and go back one stitch and go forward. Okay, you can see how that goes there. You're just going to go all the way around, and you have to twist your needle a little bit to make it come out. And this point you can probably hear the rain. I'm sorry the lighting is not good today, but it's cloudy and rainy, and it's just not a good day for recording. But I wanted to get this one done because I love these little cactuses, and I have a few more to make. And you just sew this right on. Back stitch again. Make sure you're going through your cactus yarn. So you've got them all the way to here, and you've just got to keep going around. I'll come back when I get completely done. Alright, I got it finished all the way around. And this is what I had left, so it was a really close call there. But you just weave it in as you would any other, and there he is. There's that little cactus in a pot. I think these are so cute. I love making them. And then if you really want, you could make a swing for him, and he can go in the car as a little dangle pot, or you could make a swing and hang it on a porch. So these are so cute. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.